Also, we are live, so welcome, people. Hi.
Welcome to the
Hello.
world of tomorrow.
I think
Wrong movie.
I mean,
Shut
people
up, David.
already kind of recognize my voice. I'm going to throw it over to you, Tony, as the DM. You can introduce what's going on.
Sure. So, hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Normally, our sessions are not this late at night. Usually, we go a little bit longer. Tonight, we're only going to be doing a couple-hour session. But as Paul said, my name is Tony. I am this group's executioner. I mean, dungeon master. I've been personally doing Dungeons and Dragons related stuff probably now for about a couple of years, actually. Probably about 2 years, I think, as of like next month, I want to say. So I kind of have a lot more experience on the DMing side than I do as a player, which is kind of a little bit of an unusual twist on the standard D&D player. But for everybody joining us tonight in the chat and watching the VODs, just kind of joining in, this campaign is Yalaton, the Age of Change, and this kind of stemmed out of a desire to do a D&D campaign with Paul and a few of his very good friends to kind of put together something new, different, and just something that they hadn't had an opportunity to do before. So we've had a few sessions. Yes, indeed, you were. So the thing is that this is a campaign that started off with a bunch of players who were basically playing D&D for their first time in an extended setting. So it's kind of been a new experience for them as we've gone on. We've been playing for a few months, a little bit scattered here and there, but as we get into next month, we're actually going to have a lot more consistency because schedules are finally going to get hammered out smooth, and we're going to be able to do this a lot more regularly. Want you guys to know your players that you're going to be hearing from. So, playing Torvok, the Eladrin Ranger, is David.
Hi, I'm Torvok, or David, or whatever you want to call me.
Playing our Dragonborn Bard Homer is Homer.
Technically my name's Hank in real life, but yeah, my character's name is Homer.
Moving on from that, playing our Elven Rogue, we have Tia. Or actually, is Hannah. The Elven Rogue's name is Tia.
Hello, I am the one you will probably hear shouting, and I'd like to apologize in advance to all of your eardrums.
Even
Also
to mine?
joining us... Oh, not to yours. You're the exception,
No,
sir.
David, never yours. Yeah, I'm gonna say you should know you're the exception.
Okay, that's fair.
Also
No,
joining us in the campaign, we have a shifter druid by the name of Root that is being played by Ben.
Heyo, that's me.
He's a very shifty guy.
Boo!
But my character is a chick, just so we're all very clear on that.
Duly noted. And
Guys
last
can
but
be
not
both.
least, within our campaign, our stoic dwarf paladin, Bairn, and that is Paul, our host of the evening on Twitch and on YouTube.
Hi, it's me. Hey,
Fuck, Paul's
I'm a
here?
paladin.
So, is everybody ready to get moving with this evening's session?
Define
I like to
right.
move it. I like to move it.
Loss
I
of
like to
initiative. Where are
move
my
it.
poison darts?
I want to roll to punch Torvok in the fucking mouth.
I want to roll to bake a cake and then shove it in his face.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So maybe we should clarify a little bit for those who are actually joining our most our recent streams who haven't caught up on the on D&D prior, or this is their first stream of the night. So right now the players are involved a little bit in a conspiracy with a local gang in the city of Savanti known as the Rats. The Rats are a gang that has been found to be working in league with a kind of shady businesswoman by the name of Shadris Delmar, runs a local adventurers guild. So these guys have recently been assigned by the kingdom to find the way to bring Shadris Delmar to justice, basically shut down the Rats, find the ties that tie her to them, and bring her in. That's kind of what the players are doing right now. In doing so and pursuing on this mission last week, our players decided to choose a bit more of a diplomatic route and instead worked on collecting evidence throughout the city as well as talking to people who may know a few things about the rats or any associates within the business. One of the people that the group attracted the attention of was a local arcanist by the name of Art. Another person that they brought in was the manager of a bank over in another district. Now, as they brought him in, he kind of more or less revealed to the group that he is not exactly as he says he is and may be playing multiple sides of the conflict. As when he left, 4 members of the Rats gang ambushed our fine party. Our party dealt with them in a rather unconventional manner, with cupcakes purchased from a local baker, doused in an extremely expensive poison that they had no idea was as expensive as it was until after the fact. In the combat, they threw the cupcakes at people, and including a couple of them actually ate the cupcakes, and in the process, all of them died in rather gory and fairly spectacular fashion. Of course, the barkeep, Len, is less than pleased about the use of this poison, which cost roughly $250,000 in equivalent terms for these guys. But now there is a mess of a tavern with dead bodies and blood and other bodily fluids just all over the floor, and it's kind of a wreck. So we're coming in on our players shortly after this has all happened, after Len has explained to them that this poison was incredibly expensive, and now these guys are responsible for cleaning up this gigantic and massive mess that they have made. So we're going to go in on that. Yes.
Is there a reason I'm not at full health? I assume it was from the last battle, but
I believe it was.
Do I need you want me to use healing surges, and if so, will you?
Nah. Just go ahead and set yourself at full on this one.
Thank you, honey.
Mm-hmm. Because I was about to say, I don't remember the exact circumstances, so I don't think it's fair to make you have to use healing surges on this one. It'd be different if I knew the mechanics. Oh, and by the way, the last element that we forgot to tell is that these guys have decided to wrangle the royal prince into their dealings. So Eris Frisson, otherwise known as Galen, is accompanying the party on this adventure in an assistance to help, because the Frame, or Shadra's Delmar, is attempting to get him killed and frame this party for it. Kind of an important element we forgot to include in there. But now we're going to move in. This place is an absolute mess. What does the party do?
When we last left off, I grabbed a broom or a mop or whatever, and I started to help clean. So I guess I'm still cleaning.
Okay.
I'm very carefully closing the box of cupcakes.
Okay.
Does anyone have any suggestions for dealing with the? Well, no, I guess there aren't. Are there any like larger chunks of body left over, or is it pretty much just mush?
Here's a suggestion: turn into a cat or whatever the hell you are, and eat them.
Well, they didn't turn into mush. They are still very whole.
I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, I can, there's probably someone around here who can freaking cook them up and freaking make a nice fillet.
I mean, I wouldn't need cooked items. Is the
Galen
poison
kind of
still in them?
retches at the thought of that. Is the poison still in them? I would assume that it's run its course through, but you're not sure. The question is, do you want to chance that?
Can we roll for perception or something like that?
I'll do a
you could
perception
if you
check.
want to.
I'll do a perception check.
I just find a nearby stick and start kind of pushing the chunks into like one pile.
Okay,
but they're still whole bodies, like they didn't disintegrate.
Oh. Well, never mind. I don't know why I thought.
Yeah, at the end of last session, it was.
My mind went into cubes. I start pushing the bodies into a pile, so it's like one base pile.
Okay, so you start kind of moving them.
With a stick. With a stick.
Poking them and moving them with the stick. Okay. And then Root, what are you going to do?
I'm doing a perception check to see if they're still toxic or acidic or poisonous or anything.
Okay, go ahead. They may not
Holy shit, that's a
necessarily be.
Good.
They may not necessarily be poisonous, but after seeing something like that, it's still not something you definitely want to put yourself through, or at least risking it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
Len,
don't-
do you want
I
to
don't
put
think
one
I'm gonna
down in
bother.
the basement to try to keep the rats away?
Could you repeat that one? You cut out there. I didn't understand you for a sec.
Len, do you want to put one of these in the basement and try to keep them rats away?
I say
One
let
of
the
these
rats
big
at 'em.
bodies.
He kind of looks at the box and he says, "It's probably not the worst of ideas, but
I meant one of the bodies.
oh,
Wouldn't that
wouldn't
would
that
that
attract
make more
them?"
rats?
Quick question for you, Tony, out of character.
Yes.
Just for clarification.
Okay. Oh, see.
They were all dead, right? Like every body in here is dead. None are knocked out and just like incapacitated.
As far as you can tell.
Okay. I want to do a perception check to see if anybody's still surviving, so we can get information out of them.
Go ahead.
Fuck.
So you're not really able to tell, but does anybody else want to run a perception check on that?
I will.
Yeah, I'll do one.
Okay.
I mean,
I can do another one for.
Oh my god, that's horrible. Probably.
that wouldn't. Oh wait, I don't know what perception is. I'm assuming it's not just 1d20. Hold up.
No, for you it would be 1d20 plus 4.
Thank you. Sorry.
So if I were to add that, that'd be a 9. So I see a 6, a 13, a 9, a 5, an 18, and then
Except for
Galen
one?
is also going to roll one as
Oh, yeah.
well.
Alright, he can do that. Isn't he magical?
Okay. Root, you can hear a soft groaning coming from the body that was right here.
Okay. I'm going to sort of walk over and I'm gonna drag the body a bit away from the other bodies. Maybe somewhere over here. Just
Is it safe to touch them?
Root, what are you doing? I just put that body over there so that we can make for easier cleanup. Why are you dragging? Why are you making this harder?
I shoot Root
This
a dirty
one
look
was-
as well.
this body was groaning a little.
Well, then tie him up in a chair and try to get information out of him and stop making even more of a mess. At this point, I have a mop, I guess, trying to mop up some of the blood.
Okay.
Well, I just want to separate him from, the dead people.
Do something useful then.
It was useful.
Well, do you have information out of him yet? Is he dead? Then that's not useful.
He's almost dead. He can't even talk right now, it seems like.
Hey Tia, would you like a cupcake?
So help me God, Torvak. I will poison your next meal.
Okay, so
What
I think
poison?
we should get this guy tied up or otherwise
What would you like
secured
to know?
and sort of. Oh, there we go. There he is.
Yeah, I was about to say
and-
there's your representative for him.
That's helpful.
I pull this. I walk over and pull this chair out and say, "All right, put him in this chair." And then I take out my. Let me make sure I have this in my thing. I believe.
All of us should have rope.
Yeah, and then I pull out some of my rope and I I tie him up.
Okay, so you have him at a chair, right? So
Yes.
he's right here now? Okay. So I'm going to move him there. As you move him there, he kind of groans again like... And Len kind of looks... He kind of looks over. He's like, oh, shit, he's alive?
Look, he's alive. We're gonna get some information out of him. He'll be dead in a minute. Land, hold your horses. We got work to do.
Len says, nuh-uh-uh. He reaches underneath his little counter space that he has, pulls out a pair of gloves and starts putting them on. He kind of vaults over the counter, and you see him point towards the box of cupcakes, and a magical hand manifests and grabs the box.
Len,
And he says, no. This is important. You keep him alive. I need to go see Art. And he dashes out the door with the cupcakes.
Hey, wait!
I was cleaning that up.
I wanted to kill him when we were done getting information out of him. God damn it, Lynn!
We're not killing anyone.
Look,
Not
I've had
me.
enough of your
Else.
shit. You're the first person I kill.
Well,
He
there's
kinda-
no reason to kill him needlessly.
He kind of groans again, and it's like, ugh, my fucking head. What happened?
Tell us everything
Well-
you know about the Lady Shadris and the rats.
Hey, wait, hold on. Wait, was this the guy that I missed and hit his arm?
Yeah, this is the guy who did not directly have it like thrown into his face or directly ingested the cupcakes. This is the one that just barely like grazed his hand.
Okay.
Oh, alright, cool.
The other three are definitely dead.
At this point, I'm done
Yeah.
cleaning up the pools of blood with the mop, and I put it back in Len's, like, closet or whatever, and go to the group.
Okay.
I slap him at, I put on I don't want to catching him. I look him again, I go, tell us everything you know about Shadris and the rats.
That's an intimidation
You know-
check, I think.
Yeah, that's an intimidation check.
What did I first say? Oh, that's not what I need. It's almost like we haven't played this in a while.
Even though we've gone without longer stretches, honestly.
Sorry, I'm gonna chalk it.
We haven't done a lot of role playing in a while.
Damn it.
Yeah, you kind of slap him, and he kind of incoherently mumbles. You can't really understand him.
Okay, I sit down at the table. I'm gonna do the diplomacy check and try to talk to this guy.
Okay.
Okay, so I say to the guy,
Damn.
yeah,
Wow.
I know, I wasn't
Really?
expecting that either. I was expecting
Damn.
way lower.
Yeah.
So I sit
Yeah.
down at the table, I hand him a beer that's been sitting there for probably way too long, and I say, listen, you're in a bad spot here. Luckily, we're here to help you. We're not here to hurt you. It's unfortunate what happened to your friends, but you understand.
He kind of reaches over and starts taking a drink of the beer, and after he does, like, you see him, like, his eyes, like, slightly roll in the back of his head, and he promptly, hold on a sec here.
Okay.
He promptly throws up in this direction,
I
goes
stepped
about,
outside.
goes about to the stairwell, so about 15
Holy shit,
feet.
that's impressive.
Okay.
But when he turns back
I applaud
around,
him.
like, he looks, he basically, he still looks like shit, but you can tell there's like consciousness in him. He basically just looks like he hasn't slept for like 4 days. Like, he looks like hell, but he might be able to hold conversation now.
Okay.
Drovak, get a mop and clean that up.
I pat him on the back
No.
and say, there you go. Now, let's talk about your situation here. Obviously, we want something bigger than you.
He kind of looks and he goes, yeah, the rats, I don't understand them. I really don't. Like, and he kind of goes on and he explains that this mission was kind of an interesting one in how it was presented to him and the fellow rats, because the 3 people that you guys killed were this was their first mission as a member of the rats.
So, like,
he says they were
initiates.
they were initiates, otherwise known as mice.
Okay.
He, however, was a supervising officer for this mission, known as a whole agent. And he goes on and explains that whole agents, Their job is to see what skills recruits had, so that way they could be put under the command of someone that would be able to most properly use them.
Okay.
So these people that you saw were previously hired by the manager of the bank who came in here earlier that you were talking to, the dwarf. And he reveals his name is Urquen Argentus.
Okay.
So Argentus is in charge of the mice, but is considered to be viewed as a lesser officer within the structure of the rats.
Can I do a quick history check to see if I know anything in my past with that last name? Like anybody I might have met?
Sure.
I'd also like to do a history check, actually, on that.
Sure.
Sorry. I know I'm technically not. I'm just here listening to this conversation, but that actually...
Okay, a 20...
I think you're
And you're
close
gonna do a
enough that
history
you would
check as well?
overhear him talk, so...
Yeah, you're far enough back you could probably hear the conversation. Plus, not to mention, there's nobody else in here, so there's nothing really to distract from it. You don't recognize anything at all, Tia.
Okay.
Baron, you recognize Argentus as, non-surprisingly, a family of bankers.
Interesting.
Like,
Are they Jewish?
Every Argentus you've ever known has been a banker or has been involved in the fiscal management industry in some way, shape, or form. Like, it runs within the family.
Okay, so when he says his name, basically, or tells me who he is, I look at him and say, that name sounds familiar. Do you know about the counting house? I can't remember the other district name, I'm sorry. In
Byrus.
the Byrus district?
He kind of nods and he says, "It's where Argentus works. It's a family business."
I want to ask him about the dwarf. Who was that guy that seemed to be giving you orders in here before?
He said the dwarf was Argentus.
See.
So the manager, he goes on and he explains that Argentus was in charge of the mice. He's in charge of the initiates, and he had requested their placement initiation be earlier today, and he was pulled in as a whole agent to see what kind of skills that they possessed and to see if they would be worthy to be sorted into one of the other three branches, or if they were just better as just grunts on the side.
Interesting. So
I slide over
Mhm.
and just whisper in earth, I smell gold.
I take in what Homer says in my ear, and I just kind of turn my head and back towards him, turning my chair so I'm not facing him at all anymore, and continue my conversation.
Wait, roll to see if I see this. To see if I hear this. Nope, never mind. Okay.
What was this roll for?
To see if I could hear them.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, not really.
Okay. So, I mean, the only thing I say to him after that is, so it is in fact true the counting house is in league with the rats.
He kind of nods and he says, yeah, they are. Argentus has been in the pocket of the rats for some time. In fact, the reason that he got the job kind of overseeing the mice was because he had a deal with Del Mar.
Wait, with Del Mar? I say to him.
Yeah. The old bitch.
I look over at Tia. And I kind of beckon her to come join the conversation.
Did you say they had a deal with Del Mar? As in Lady Shadris?
He kind of nods his head and says, yep. He basically was sworn into as a lesser officer of the rats in exchange for him keeping the city's dealings hush-hush. And he also ran a little scheme on the side that a lot of people don't necessarily know about.
You want to expand on this scheme of yours?
He says, I don't know the full-blown specifics of it, All that I know is it had to do with the closing process of people who died within the city. Normally, if people have a bank with the Argentis family and they die, that money is supposed to go to next of kin. That's how inheritances work, as I'm sure most of you would understand.
Very much so. But what you're saying is that these inheritances went into the rat's bank accounts?
He nods his head. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Tell me more about Lady Shadra's involvement with you guys. Tell me everything you know about it.
He says, now keep in mind, I don't know that much. I'm not a high-ranking guy. He kind of looks around and he basically says, if you want to think of me, I'm basically a placement officer.
That's all I do. I don't care if you're the lowest of the low. I want to know everything about Lady Shadra.
All that I know is that Shadris basically bankrolls the rats. Nobody knew where she kept getting the money from unless they actually did some work for Argentis.
I'm done
Nobody
with him.
questioned about the bankrolling. They just assumed that they had the supplies. When it started becoming an issue for Del Mar after she blew through her inheritance, well, she went to go seek a loan out from Argentis, and he offered the elegant solution of more inheritances. He offered, in exchange for those inheritances, a position on her council. Her council, of course, being the rats. She graciously accepted this deal in exchange for the money of the people who died within this city.
I'm just kind of sitting there listening to all this and pondering. And then I guess I speak up and just say to him, do you know where we could get proof of her involvement?
He says contracts with Argentis, pretty much any contract held with a member of the rats between her and them would be in the possession of Rikus. At least of the higher-ranking officers, that would be my guess. Low-level grunts are indisposable enough that they probably wouldn't have much going for them in the way of, what's the proper term, loyalty. She doesn't understand the concept of it and only doesn't even extend much of it to her to the people she works with. She kind of lets them do her own thing. She tries to use them to advance her own interests in the city and merely funds the operations.
I nod my head knowingly at him.
But that said, she still does fund their stuff.
You've been a great help to us tonight. And you by the luck of our barkeeper. I'm not going to kill you right now. But, unfortunately, we still have to keep you tied to this chair until he returns and gives us word otherwise. You've done a great service to your city tonight.
He says it's fine. He kind of reaches into his pocket and he tosses what appears to be the badge of, basically, you can assume it would be of his position as a whole agent. And he says, to be flat honest with you, I've been sick and tired of the groups infighting within the mice. Full of assholes who didn't know the pecking order, and the only reason Argentis had their loyalty was because of the money. They didn't bear any loyalty to him because oftentimes if mice make it in the gang, they don't stay with him. They become a member of the rodents or the marmots or the muskrats.
I want to question him at what these different levels are.
He says
I want to know how many there are.
He says, he kind of gives you a brief overview of the organization, kind of from the top down, in that the gang as a whole is known as the Rats. That's overseen by Rikus as a whole. Like, that's his organization. From there, it goes down into 3 sub-levels: the rodents, the marmots, and the muskrats. The rodents, as you guys knew previously, were the kind of big baddies, the bruisers. Those are overseen by Vaughn. The marmots are overseen by the cleric Cortessa, and the muskrats are overseen by Finn, the Was he a wizard or warlock? I always get the two mixed up. He was Finn oversees the muskrats, and Finn was the wizard. So basically, from that you can kind of tell like each kind of branch has their own people that like specifically serve them. Like the rodents, they specifically serve Vaughn. The marmots explicitly serve Cortessa. And the muskrats, they serve Finn. And then he kind of goes on and says, and underneath all of them, that's the mice. They're the recruits. They're the people who work their way up to earn their way up into higher positions. That entire scheme, that entire area, that's overseen by Argentus himself.
Okay. I push a piece of paper and a writing utensil his way and say, draw out, like, what areas of the city they might be found in. Like, their different districts that they run or whatever.
Okay. So he starts drawing pictures of them, and you don't particularly notice anything in the Atchpin district, which is where you guys are in right now. That's kind of the home district as you were. The Virus, he said that there is a couple of access points to hideouts of theirs within the Virus district. One of which Torvok, Root, and Homer recognize on the map as the one that is under Silver Peaks.
So it's still in use, or able to be used.
Right, and then the other one you're not entirely sure, but it doesn't seem too far off, but he goes on and explains that this is the one that was used a little bit more. It's underneath... actually, no, yeah, it was underneath... it was underneath the bank. So it was underneath the Argentus counting house. And then he kind of goes through and he looks at the other two districts. He looks at the Caritas district, and he doesn't really know of any dealings up there. And then in the other one, the Delar district, he knows of a couple of access points there. And he kind of circles them. But having never been to the Delar district, you're not entirely familiar with the geography of the area.
Sure. I thank him
Do we
and
know-
put the piece of paper into my pouch or backpack.
Are we able to know this is legitimate information?
You can insight him and see if he's bluffing you.
Insight. Well,
Let's go.
Sounds legit to me.
Doki.
Yeah, you don't see any problems with it.
I don't do an
Then again, you
insight
don't
because I'm so, like, wrapped up in my own, like, egomania about how silver-tongued I am that I think there's no way he would lie to me in his situation.
Sure.
I-
Does anybody
I
else
think-
wish to insight this? You may if you wish.
I-
You
I
do not
rolled
have
the
to.
insight check. Sorry, I'm beating. I rolled the insight check.
Okay, that 14 was your insight check.
Yeah, sorry.
You have no reason to believe that he's leading you astray.
I think he's telling the truth. Like he circled one of the access points he pointed out was one that we knew about. So why would he lie about others?
I nod my head. I tell him to finish his drink, and I pull the group aside out of earshot so we can formulate our next step.
Sure.
Before I head over, I just ask him, how much you get paid in the rats?
I yelled to Homer.
Homer!
Come on, we don't have time for this.
You're not joining the rats.
He kind of looks at you and he says, as a whole officer, if I got 20 gold a week, I was lucky.
Ugh.
How about health plans? You have a health plan?
Torvok, shut up.
He kind of looks over at you and says, honestly, they don't really care much for rats as a whole. You want my honest opinion? If you're a rat, guess what? You're as indisposable as the creature you're named after. And he downs another chug of his beer.
Okay, when I hear Homer talk about this, I come back, and I want to do a diplomacy check to see if I can buy him to give us, like, to maybe scout out for us or betray them from the inside.
Sure. Go ahead and roll that check for me then.
This is going to be the bad one. Just watch.
While he does that, I grab a drink.
So I tell him
He kind of-
basically
go ahead.
that 20 gold a week. How about this? You get 50 gold for going about your business, pretending like you took care of us, and doing a little sabotage work on the inside to make sure that they're maybe not as prepared if stuff happens.
He kind of looks around and he says, 50 gold flat.
Flat.
And what if I'm successful?
We can renegotiate upon your success. Depending
If
on
you're
how
not
successful.
you're dead.
You should instill the idea in your fellow rats that you guys should unionize to get some better pay.
I look at Homer
He
and
kind
say,
of-
finally, a good idea.
He kind of looks at you and he kind of nods his head and he says, all right. I'm going to have to get creative and explain to him how I, recruiting officer, took care of them rather than the 3 recruits, though. Got any ideas for that one?
We had y'all in a pile. We didn't notice you were dead, and you crawled off.
Your recruits sucked, and you took their weapons and.
I hand
It was
him,
a very close battle.
I hand him my
You
old
just barely
armor
beat us.
that I had when I first rolled into town after buying like the new armor, and say, give them this. Tell them it comes from my corpse.
He kind of laughs and kind of lugs the armor onto onto him, and he's like, all right then, where do we meet to continue our dealings?
I'd like to say not so fast. How do we feel about having him clean up his projectile vomit from the floor?
I look at Root and say, that seems like a job for the Eladrin.
What did I do?
I second this motion.
No
I
one
can
asked
agree
you
to
to.
that.
Everybody asked me, Torvok, now do as he said and clean it up.
God damn it! I have like something I can help that can help me out with this.
I nod and I
I'll help
grab
you for
my
10
broom
gold.
again and start helping him
Call
clean.
the mop.
Can I use my base step to teleport that stuff out?
It teleports you and not objects, so sorry.
Fuck.
I'll help out for 10 gold.
You'll help out out of the nicest of your, or the kindness of your heart. Can I do some sort of I guess a diplomacy check? For
That sounds like a pretty good diplomacy check to me.
Can I resist that?
We'll go diplomacy versus intimidate.
Alright.
I sit down next to Eris and just start drinking
Yeah.
a bottle of wine.
Ooh, okay. What?
Oh,
Okay, so you're at a stalemate.
Wow, so the two of you are just like, ooh.
This is where
I'm gonna
I
have you
barge
guys-
in, I just grab them up and start doing it. And say, there's more
Okay.
important things that matter than bickering. And I start cleaning.
All
I
right.
have a
all
little
right,
wine,
and
go to
I
the
help
wine,
him out
take it, and
anyways.
sit next to Eris.
Okay, so you head to Eris, and so the guy finishes off his drink, and he kind of winks, takes off his bandana that he's wearing, and he kind of says, "We'll be in touch," and kind of puts it back over his head, and he leaves.
How much time has passed since we're done cleaning?
Probably about 20 minutes, and in that time,
What?
no, we'll say about 10 minutes right now.
Okay.
I ask Eris, so you've been pretty quiet throughout all this. What are you thinking right now?
He kind of looks over at you and he says, "Well, you did say to be quiet unless asked."
I laugh.
I glare at him. Seriously,
That's good.
you're one of us now too for the time being. What do you think? We're trying to save your goddamn life.
He says, "I'm not entirely sure what to make of it. I always felt something was up with the Argentis family, but God, I didn't think it was going to be so dark as for them to just freaking siphon off inheritances of dead people. Jesus.
I wander
So
over.
lacking of justice.
I wander over and say, as a prince, I'm sure you've seen the inside of the bank, yes? At some point.
He kind of tries to. I'm going to have him roll a history check for you on that one, because he's trying to recollect, but he's not entirely sure on.
Sure, like maybe he was too young or something when it was built.
Oh,
Ooh.
so he kind of thinks about it, and he says, come to think of it, I had, but the bank was still under construction at the time.
That's
But
So
you
fine.
might
I'm not-
know the ins and outs of it, though, like how to get, the basic structure.
Well, sure. There's the one entrance that the bank has within the front. That's the only way that non-employees can actually access the place.
But
There is a side entrance for the employees that leads into their break room, which then leads into behind the counter.
This is where I look on the other table and see where that guy left his officer badge. And say, I think I have an idea. Who wants to play make pretend?
I liked Eric
Ooh.
since he knows the bank the best.
I like to dress up.
I don't think he should do it because he's the one that might get killed and also has
Yeah.
the most recognizable
Yeah,
face.
I say that, and I also say, well, I can't do it because that dwarf guy obviously knows me by now.
He doesn't know
Yeah.
me.
So
I
Galen
get
kind
it.
of chips in and says, okay, so based on that, I think it rules out us three. And then he says, are you trying to do what I think you're trying to do? Pass off as the guy that you just bought off?
I wink at him.
He looks over at Torvok and says, unfortunately, he's the most human and non-recognizable person
Yay!
of what's left.
I sigh
I don't-
deeply and
he
take some
looks-
drink in.
He looks and he says, look, I don't like it either, but they'll know me in a second. They'll know the two of you. And he looks over at
I don't know what he
Homer
is.
and
Not
says,
angry.
I'm sorry, he can't pass for human.
Yeah.
And then
Nor
he
would I
looks-
want to.
And then he looks over at Root and says, and sorry, but you're not a dude.
It's fair enough.
Look,
He
Eric,
says,
I'm
I
important.
could easily go in there. It's not like I angered him or something.
Shut up, Tia. You're a woman. You can't do this.
I like to roll to backslap him.
What was
what are you
that?
trying to do?
I don't know what the backslap Tormach roll is.
What are you trying to do? You
The-
kind of like warbled there.
Sorry,
Backslap.
I don't remember what the roll backslap David is.
Oh, basic
Need a
attack,
macro for
dexterity
that.
roll.
Shoot, what's my dex mod?
Tony, you should almost just program that in as a button.
I'm gonna say you might as well use it up. It's 1d20 plus my current dex.
Dex mod in half level, so 1d20 plus 4.
4. Okay. Dex-
So
yeah,
wait, hold on, wait. Before you slap me, I just wanted to say something.
No, too late.
Versus reflex defense on Torvok.
Reflex is 15, but how come when Galen says it, it's okay, but when I say it, no.
When Galen says it, he's telling the truth. When you say it, you're being a dick.
I'm telling the truth too. What the fuck?
I smile.
You're an asshole. He isn't most of the time. I want to slap you more than I want to slap him 9 times out of 10. I'll take any excuse to backslap you.
Galen kind of says, hey, progress.
Well, I don't know if I can pass with him now that I have a fucking red mark on my face.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Oh, it'll fade. You're not going in. Galen kind of looks and says, oh, that'll fade. Plus, given the engagement we just got in, guys, I don't think it'd be too smart to try and pull this one off today.
We didn't do anything. They ate a cupcake and died.
I stand up and
Was
say,
that-
it's settled
Yes.
then. He will go into enemy territory pretending to be the enemy that they already know is there. We will send him
Do you
in.
know the enemy? You know the enemy.
And then I
Do
say,
you know
let's.
the enemy. Away,
I'm gonna
away,
mute
away.
you. I will globally mute you. You think a GM has powers? Motherfuckers, server admins have the power.
From the heavens, a bolt
God
of
damn
lightning
it.
as he is hit by silencing smite.
Silencing smite. It crits
You
every
won't
time.
speak for a week. Yeah, you won't speak for 1d7 days now.
Roll for how many days he's banned from my life.
All right. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, in all seriousness, so, like, did anybody see what he was wearing? Like, what do we need to dress him up in?
Bandana.
Yeah, he had the bandana
Black
over
jacket.
his.
I look over at the dead bodies and say, those will do nicely then.
God damn, I have to wear dead clothing.
Yep.
Korva.
The clothing
I,
isn't dead.
I go over and start peeling off some fresh threads for Torvok.
That's all sorts of bad
Some
juju, guys.
fresh
Galen
threads.
kind
I
of
said that.
Galen kind of looks over and says, huh, I never thought Torvok would be the one dying to be in style.
Oh,
Oh.
wait, I'm gonna roll. I need to roll the backslash Galen roll. I need to roll the
Okay.
backslash roll.
Okay, nope, you don't hit him.
Should I do anything to see like what I get off of the bodies, like, or is it all fairly intact? So
It
I
was
don't
all
need to-
really intact. Basically, what happened to the three died. I mean, the one that took the cupcake square face, like you can basically see blood basically out of every possible orifice on his body, whereas the two that ingested the cupcakes may have thrown up their past 3 days worth of meal and probably about a good half of their blood supply. So I mean, there's no real physical bodily damage other than the fact that their insides are probably annihilated, but that doesn't do anything for the outsides. They might need a good wash though.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good then.
Well, yeah, I try to find the cleanest stuff and.
Are any of them even my
Bring it on over.
size?
Go figure it out.
You can run a perception check for each corpse and see.
How many is that?
3.
3?
So if you just do 3 rolls of
Plus 2.
Okay, suddenly I thought I couldn't hear you guys, and then I heard David.
Wow. Okay, so I got an 18 for one of
10
them.
and a crit fail for the third. Well, the good news is that the first one you looked at is pretty much as close to your size as you could probably hope for. The second one was a little bit bigger, and the third one maybe had the physical structure of a 7-year-old girl.
Nice, body.
So what you're saying is it would probably fit Paul since he's a dwarf. Because dwarves are short and small usually.
Are you saying there's something wrong with
Brutal.
you?
No.
Is that what
I
I
am
hear
state-
implying?
No, I did not say that
So,
at
whatever
all.
the case, the first one that you look at is like pretty well close to your size. It might be a little bit bigger or smaller in either direction, but not in a noticeable enough direction that people would bat an eye to.
Cool.
So
Is that one the cleaner one?
that was one of the one. Can you go ahead and roll Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and assume that that one wasn't terrible. Actually, hang on. I need you to roll me a. We'll do this. Give me a 1d2 on that
1d2?
one. Yeah, give me a 1d2 on this one because it'll be either one of the ones that vomited his guts out or the one that got hit in the face. You got the one who got hit in the face, so it's not as disgusting or horrifying as the other guys.
Okay. Do I have the
But-
ability to wash these first at the very least?
Well, yeah.
Can I
Okay,
loot the
good.
body?
You can. if you wish.
I wish.
Can't loot the one I have the clothes of. That's
Well,
mine.
yeah, there are 2 other bodies I'd like to loot.
So what you're able to loot off of the other bodies, you're able to loot off of each of them. Each of them had a halberd, a crossbow, and underneath their leather coats, they were actually wearing chainmail.
Ooh, can I carry chainmail? Hold up. Do I have to train for chainmail?
Rogues have training in leather.
So I can't take that chainmail.
You could, if you wanted to take it and you wanted to wear it, what would happen is you could wear it, but you would take a -2 penalty to your attack rolls and your reflex defense.
Okay. Can I take it but not wear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can take that, and if you also meet the proficiencies for it, or the prerequisites for it, you can train up to chain.
Right. Shoot, you gave me like I don't have it.
The prerequisites for that are just strength and con 13 and training with leather or hide, which you have training with leather.
Okay. I'm gonna
But
take the
that's
chainmail.
for the time.
That's the only thing I need. Yeah. No, I'll worry about that later.
Okay. So you take one set of chainmail, I assume, right?
Yes. But I'm not
Okay.
wearing it.
Okay.
Wearing it.
So you're carrying the chainmail, and then just so you know, chainmail weighs approximately 40 pounds.
Okay. But I don't know how much. I don't know what my weight is at the moment that I'm carrying. I don't know. I can't see it. I don't have it saved.
That's
But I'll
fine. Just
make
letting you
note
know.
of it. No, you're good.
Okay.
I need to sit and look at it later, so I might end up dropping it.
Okay, no problem. So after the guy leaves, so you guys are still kind of chatting, I'm guessing? Like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah,
if
we're
you're talking.
Well, I look at him or at the clothes or whatever and say, that'll do, but he'll probably need backup. Who can probably, like, sneakily follow him. Then I stand up and start jiggling around, and there's just a loud clanging of my armor to indicate that, obviously, I can't.
I'm afraid I'll get. I can do it, but there's a chance I'll get recognized. If I get recognized, everything's gonna go even farther south than it would have already.
I could probably try it. I'm not. My face hasn't been seen by as many people, and my stealth is pretty good.
I agree.
I say,
Galen kind of pulls on his cloak and withdraws from his robe a spherical device, and he says, "This should look familiar," kind of looking over at Tia.
I recognize it, but I draw a blank.
It's it's basically the smoke bomb that was thrown to cover your ass when you were trying to escape from the other night.
Thank you. Exhausted. Oh, well. We should probably save that in case. We should probably use that only if we have to. Save those for dangerous situations.
He kind of looks at you and he says, "One of ours wandering into the direct enemy territory, you don't think that is really considered a dire situation if that backfires?"
I look
I'm
at Torvok and think,
Nothing of value is being.
One of ours. You say ours as if I care about any of these people. These people, look at that face. The only reason I want to keep that face alive is for the information we need. So yes, we should use that. But I'm saying we need to wait until it comes to a life or death situation and save those to save our own bloody lives.
He kind of nods his head and just places the smoke bomb back into his cloak.
All right.
so
Torvok, you need some sleep because you have a lot of work to do tomorrow, and you need to make sure you don't fuck this up for everybody. If you fuck this up, I'm coming after your head.
Yeah, Tony, what time is it?
It is about 3 in the afternoon, actually.
3 afternoon. Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I stand up and just walk over to one side of the room and say, obviously, we will split up into two parties. One will take a look at the bank, and the other will take a look at the place. I can't remember the name now. Sorry, I wrote it down.
Silver Peak?
Yeah,
Silver
the other
Peaks.
one will check out the Silver Peaks rat hole. So, obviously, I'm in one camp.
Same groups to switch places.
So
Same
Len
group.
walks in. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. I was suggesting to Baron that we take the same groups as we did last time, except this time the places we're visiting will be switched.
Len walks in, and you see him holding a satchel. Actually, not him, rather, the magic hand floating behind him.
I say, oh, hey, Len.
Look, your bar. We cleaned it for you. It's sparkling, even cleaner than it was before.
He kind of looks around and he kind of goes,
Shut up!
it's fine. And he kind of walks back behind his tavern.
Cleaning up your mess, Torvak. Len, what'd you bring
My
back
me-
for us?
He kind of looks up with a sharp little glance and he says, haha, not for you. Where's our friend?
Doing a little bit of paid work.
He kind of says, well, damn, and he drops the satchel down on the table and kind of lets the bag fall from the side of it, and you see it is a thing of vials of different colored liquid.
Looks tasty.
Len, what you bring back, good sir?
Can I do an Arcana check to see if I recognize anything?
You might, sure.
Actually, I'll do that as well.
We'll
Arcana.
all do 'em.
Yeah. I'm gonna pass because my Arcana sucks.
Arcana for you, Root, is
7.
20 plus 7, yeah.
I'm just gonna let the
Oops.
experienced folk take this one.
So I see Homer has a 24, Root has
Jesus.
a 9. Okay. Homer, you recognize the vials. Oh, wow. And Torvak recognizes them too. You guys can, detect the faint presence of a substance used in filtration. So that's what you can detect. You can detect there was some kind of arcane filtration that was done to make these things. But overall, you're not entirely sure if what was made has magical qualities.
Okay.
Len kind of goes on to explain. He says, I decided to have our good friend Art attempt to distill your death cakes so that way I didn't get screwed out of an incredibly valuable poison.
I look sheepishly at the floor.
How
He
much
kind
did
of-
you manage to save?
He says, managed to save about half of it, but we made it last. And he kind of holds up the vials, and you can see they grow from an increasingly cheery colors, bright pastel pinks and greens and blues, down to a more foreboding and sinister shades of crimson and really dark blue and almost like pea soup green. It looks just... It looks awful. Not unlike some of the things you may or may not have mopped up a half an hour ago.
Len, your vials look fantastic.
He says basically these vials range in increases of their potency. So the brighter colors, and he holds up one of them, he says, this, anybody ingests this and they'll be out as fast as the other folks were.
Don't let Tia touch that ever.
And then he takes a look down at the dark ones and he says, now the dark ones, well, they'll just make you feel like hell, but otherwise they won't kill you.
Don't let Tia touch those
Quickly.
either.
So,
Tia,
So,
no. Tia,
those,
no. Tia,
those-
no. I grab Tia's arm and drag her away.
I
I don't care what kind of
resist-
roll I have to do for that. You can't resist
I
if I
fucking-
get a good roll.
Strength check.
That's a 1d20. Strength? Okay.
Yeah,
That
strength
is
check.
Plus, where's my...
What is he rolling against for me?
Fortitude.
D20 plus 3.
Oh, that is here.
Bam.
Ooh, I think he got you.
Yep.
Versus fort defense, yeah, he got you.
So he pulls away, but I still continue saying, so how much is one of those?
No. What do I roll against for this?
He says not, he understands, and he says not for sale, and then he opens up a safe down in the bottom of his floor that he drops them in and locks it, and then says not for your uses again.
I give him 10 gold. I slide 10 gold on the counter and say not for anyone's uses.
Look, I'm just saying Torvok here needs to be taught a lesson sometimes.
What
He
lesson?
says-
I'm the one that killed the other people for us so they didn't kill us.
He says there are other lessons that can be taught with much more devastating effect, but much more simple implementation. And he kind of winks at you.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I'm keeping an eye.
I stand back on the side of the room and say, how are we doing this? Like, what are the parties?
I'm saying you, me, and Eris over there need to go back to the other bar, because...
I don't think it's a good idea that Eris goes into somewhere where he can be seen instantly and have to be in a fight if we're trying to save him.
Well, then why would you send him to the bank?
I never said I'm sending him to the bank. I think he should stay here and wait in bed.
I mean, then what's gonna happen? What if Len here gets robbed and they go upstairs and they find him and it's the rats and they say, "Oh look, we're gonna kill this kid. It's the kid we're trying to kill."
Didn't Len just drop a bunch of poisons into a safe?
Are there still cupcakes around?
They're still baked goods.
He
in this
says the
vicinity.
cupcakes were gone. Art had to he had to whirl them together in some crazy device and then find the way to extract them, which is why I've been gone for so long.
My face drops.
So the
Len.
cupcakes are
cupcake.
totally
Back
gone.
me up here.
I go to Baron and pat his shoulder. There, friend.
I look over at Homer and say, you're obviously with me. You're a dragon. You're not sneaking anywhere.
I think
Oh, and
stealth
like-
isn't terrible.
I give Baron a piece of my rum cake.
I eat it? Question mark?
Do you eat it?
You know what? Yeah, I eat it. Just to make him feel
It's
better.
pretty. Roll for quality. 1d20.
Okay.
Me?
Well, I mean, we can roll for quality and do we want to roll for? Well, technically, I guess the roll is for deliciousness.
Well, technically, this is rum cake that I bought from the bakery, so it better be goddamn delicious.
1d20 that roll then.
Ooh.
For me?
Yeah, no, he's the one who ate it. Oh, man.
Wow.
Well,
You're
to be
lucky I
fair,
said
I
no.
didn't make it.
Let's say you're lucky I said
so-
no.
I didn't even.
Baron's had much better in the past, but he's also unfortunately had much worse.
I gulp it down in like
So it's
2
Pretty
bites
middle of the road.
and kind of hit my armor, like tapping it and say, it's not the only thing that's steel while regarding my stomach, like looking down at my stomach.
Oh my god, I
Give
didn't take that
me-
the right way at first.
Give me an endurance check, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Baron, because you just
Had the stomach. That's
yeah, you're fine.
Nice.
You're fine.
Oh.
So
Guys, back to the task at hand. Baron, I think Root should be.
What's the task at hand again?
I think Root needs, Root needs to be with Torvok. He can, worst comes to worst, he can shapeshift. I can stay hidden,
She-
but if they find me, it's going to be even worse.
She.
Whatever.
I do. I just say I agree. Root should be with Torvok.
Fine.
What's up, baby?
What? Okay.
Roll to hit Tarbach.
1d20.
D20.
We might have to
What do you-
implement house rules of 2 hits per game session against Torvok, because this could be every second turn we do.
What am I? 1d20 plus
hashtag
what?
punching bag. Are you trying to punch him or slap him?
I'll just give him a good hit.
Strength then.
A good hit.
A good hit, you know.
So 1d20 plus 1 for you.
Plus. Damn it! I keep forgetting the.
You can hit up and just keep doing the same roll. Just change your mod. It's versus fort.
Yeah.
Even.
So he does hit you, but it's like let's put it this way: he hits you, but it's like nothing like crazy. It's a good
love
solid.
tap?
No, it's a good solid slug.
Mhm.
But it's like you've certainly been hit harder.
That's all I want.
But he doesn't miss you.
I look over at Galen and say, okay, then you decide. Who do you want to go with?
Choose your adventure.
He kind of looks around and he says, well, let me get this straight. We're going to launch the invasion on the bank today?
No, of course not. We're just getting prepared.
Oh. So where are you guys going then? Separate yourself into the two parties so that he knows, because he's kind of confused as to which one is with who and where they're going is what he kind of needs to know.
Homer. There you go.
Well,
Okay,
I
so
technically am also technically undecided because Baron's telling me go with those guys, but I'm like, that's a bad idea.
okay, so where are Baron and Homer going?
We're going to see the rat hole, basically.
So you're going to go to Silver Peaks?
That's right, yes.
So you're going to go to the bar in the Buyers District, okay? And then where are Torvok and Root going?
Root. To the bar or to the bank, right? In my fancy new duds.
Yes.
So you are going to go scout the area out today then? Or are you actually trying to go into the bank?
We're standing around
I'm
trying
gonna
to
make
argue
a withdrawal.
What we're doing is arguing about what's going on tomorrow.
Well, what he wants to know is what you guys are doing today.
Oh, today? We're just...
That's what Galen wants to know right now.
I
What
just
you
tell
guys are
him
doing
we're
today.
just planning so we can get an early jump on it in morning.
Oh, all right. Well, he decides that he's going to side over with Torvok and Root. He says, "Look, I'm pretty sure they'll be fine, but ultimately," and he pulls the smoke bomb out again. He says, "If something goes south, you," and he points over at Tia, "don't have one of these."
He's not wrong.
You could give her
I
one.
hate to say he's right. I hate to say he's right, but he is right. He's the only one that can save your asses, that can sneak your asses out of there. I can
Okay.
sneak my ass out of there, but you two would be on your own.
I nod
And I
and
want
So-
that.
I nod, look over at Tia and say, well, if worse comes to worse, at least we have somebody that can do some hurting.
I'm right here, dude.
So, with these groups determined for tomorrow, it's still about 3 p.m. in the day before you guys want to do this operation. My question is did you guys have any other plans to do for the day or not?
Honestly, I didn't.
I want to eat.
We need to lay low, I think. Lay low, we've been
Yeah.
our buddy friend get out whatever word he wants to get out.
Can I just say that my character does the rest of the day like you would normally, like maybe read a book or something, have a meal,
Sure.
go to bed?
Sure, you can do that. Galen kind of chirps in and he says, do you think it may not be the worst of idea if at least a couple of us maybe go over to Ironheart's?
What's
Why do you wanna go
Ironhearts?
there?
Ironheart's is the
blacksmith.
blacksmith down the street.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
just gonna suggest selling the weapons that were left over.
God damn it! I'm supposed to be a Jew, okay? So
I still just kind of go about my business of like eating, drinking, and staying in here, laying low.
Okay.
I also
So
do
that's
that
what
because if we want to pull off the bank operation, him seeing me would be a bad idea.
So I guess me and Tia are just having a chat and some dinner while people do
Okay.
whatever else.
Well, Galen says, well, Homer, since you seem to be the most interested in going there, perhaps the two of
I'll
us
go.
can lug all this extra gear. And you as well. He kind of looks over.
I'll be staying here.
All right. So he kind of starts picking up the gear, and he says, "We should be able to turn this around for a little bit, and who knows? Maybe we can actually talk to the guy who runs the place. We can find something out there."
Don't die, you idiots! I call to them as they leave.
All right.
God
So
fucking damn it to you.
Try not to.
try not to die.
Don't
Try.
get seen either. You'll only make it.
Who's gonna see us?
I don't know, but you're only gonna make it harder for tomorrow. So don't do something stupid and fuck up our plans.
I really hope Tia does something to fuck up our plan so I can hold it.
All right. So as the three of you guys start walking over there, at this point, we're going to take this opportunity to take our break for the night.
Right.
Since we're only doing a 2-hour session, this is probably going to be the only break that we're going to take for the night.
That's fine. I need to go grab like a liquid that I can.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead, take a quick 5-minute break, and then when we get back, we are going to we'll play through the rest of the hour, maybe a little bit beyond that, and from there, we'll call it for the night. But to everybody who's watching so far, thank you guys so much for coming in and watching this. We really hope you're enjoying it so far. Previous episodes of this are available on Paul's YouTube, so you can go ahead and head there, check them out. But we're not done here yet, so stick around and you will see the conclusion of tonight's session. Thank you guys all for watching. We'll be back momentarily.